Hello there, good evening. This is Eyeafrica TV, and wherever you are, whether in the country or outside, thank you so very much once again for joining us in this very important program that we bring for you this evening. It is Saturday, the 26th of November 2022, and we are here to discuss about PURA activities. That is, of course, the Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PURA Hour, right here on Eyeafrica TV. And we are here this evening to talk about the upcoming 2022 Consumer Parliament program that is slated for the 10th of December at Brikama Box Bar in the West Coast region. So, of course, I'm very much glad to say I am being joined this evening to discuss more on that, on the preparation and what to expect in this year's edition by very important guest from PURA, and I will just quickly allow them, of course, to introduce themselves, and then, of course, we'll get into the nitty-gritties of this discussion and the program ahead. And, of course, we're also going to widen the discussion in the local language later on, so that, you know, we'll have a very great interaction in this program. So once again, thank you so very much for your company, as always, on our programs right here on the Eyeafrica TV. And of course, to start with, I would start with the far right. Of course, he's the first to arrive, by the way. There is Mr. Paul Mendy, Director of Admin and Finance at PURA. Mr. Mendy, good evening, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. We are glad to be here to sensitize our consumers and our general public about the upcoming this in Consumer Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Oslo Sima is the right man, guy at the center. He's the Director of Consumer Affairs at PURA. Good evening, Mr. Sima, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. We're glad to be back at Eyeafrica TV. This is our second home. We've been here before.
Absolutely.
The sensitization when it happens, because it's a very efficient station that we like to use.
Very well.
So thank you.
Good to have you guys again, and it's always a pleasure to have you here talk about PURA issues and your activities as well. And on my immediate left is Mr. Nicholas Jatta, who is the Director of ICT, also at PURA. He is also with us. Mr. Jatta, good evening, and thank you also for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here to sensitize people about the upcoming Consumer Parliament, which will be held in Brikama on the 10th of December at 10 a.m. So we are very, very happy to be here to tell you the products that we have, what you should expect, why you should come, and things like that. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. So I'll be with the gentleman from now to the end of the program. Hopefully, we'll be joined by another guy later on, but I'm not going to introduce who he is, but later on, probably if he comes in, you will know who will, of course, join us later. And like I said, we'll also, of course, going to discuss in the local language later. So ko defee rek mbokk ñu ngi leen di nuyuwaat beneen yoon fii ci Africa TV ñëwaat mbégte beneen yoon indiwaat leen beneen programme bu amati solo comme ni ñu koy defee saa su ne fii ci kër gi. Tey nag ci ngooni samedi bi yem ak ñaari fukki fan ak juróom-benn ci weeri novembre 2022 ñu dalal fii ak waa PURA ñu war a waxtaan ak ñoom ci programme bu am solo bi nga xamante ne at bu nekk dañ koy amal ci réew mi waaye tamit ren ñu fas yéene amalaat beneen foofu ci Brikama Box Bar mini stadium bi mooy Consumer Parliament. mooy ndaje bi nga xamante ne dañ dee indi stakeholders yu bëri waaye surtout consommateurs si ñu waxtaan ak ñoom si seen liggéey bi ak yenn li nga xamante ne mooy jafe-jafe yi nga xamante ne wala ay développement yu am ci wàllum secteur buñ leen dénk ci réew mi. To start with, xam naa bu ci kanamee nañ gën a xuus ci waxtaan bi ci kàllaama wolof ak mandinka bu ci kanamee but right now dañ bëgg a door ci English then ñu dellusiwaat xam naa dinaa door just quickly with because we are talking about the Consumer Parliament, so I have the Consumer Director of Affairs here, so I will start with him to take us through if we talk about the Consumer Parliament, what exactly, just as a reminder, what are we talking about?
When we talk about the Consumer Parliament, I think this is a biannual event that we have. In this event, what we do is we create a platform for consumers to come face to face with their service providers. So we all know, as a regulator, the lifeblood of any regulator is consumer complaints. This is what drives industry, it's what drives most of the things in the world. Is that consumers are the ones that are being catered for, and what the needs that they have are taken care of through what is catered for them. But it's for them to say, this is good for me and this is not good for me. And the way we do that is we created a free phone line called the 148 number they can call free of charge. But we felt that this was not enough. because it means we become the interface between them and their service providers. But what we did with the Consumer Parliament is to create a forum where we will bring all the CEOs and put them on a high table, and you as the consumer becomes a parliamentarian. So it's about a question of representation where people from the states become parliamentarians. They represent the concerns of their communities, their towns, their villages, and anywhere they happen to be living. And then they will be, we will remove ourselves from the equation, and now they'll be facing them directly and asking them questions like tariff disappearances. And incidentally, that is why, because of the fact that we were listening to them, we have made the theme for this year's Consumer Parliament to be cost and quality of service. Okay. Because these are the concerns we have. Cost and quality. People are saying, my tariffs are disappearing quickly, it's being spent too quickly. Are there technical issues for the reasons for this? We don't know. We might know, but what we want is for them to direct these questions directly to the service providers so that they will be able to answer them. And it will not be any person from the service provider, but rather it's going to be the top echelon of those service providers. Their directors, their CEOs are the ones that are going to be sitting there and answering their questions directly. All right. So it's a very important forum that we do biannually, and we want everybody to come to Birkama on the 10th of December at 10 a.m. Boxbar. All
right. Now, a biannual event which have been happening for so long now, what has been the lesson learned by PURA as a regulatory body in the event that you have conducted or organized so far during this interface between the providers and the consumers?
No, the lessons are many. Like we said, it's representation. I'll give you an example. An example of a consumer complaining representing the rest of the community. The last Consumer Parliament that we did at the Karabajawara Conference Center, you guys were there as well. What a consumer from Gunjur actually came to say the water at Gunjur has iron in it. It was not palatable, it doesn't look good, and they cannot drink it. And as a result, PURA worked with NAWEC, and they did some engineering works where they had to actually divert the water source of Gunjur from Gunjur to Birkama. This cost them a lot of money to do that. But it's only one individual that complained to result in that. And there are other examples. I'm sure Nicholas will give you as well in terms of telecommunication, where one person complains about something and it ends up being fixed and the whole community benefits from it. So these are the type of things that we want. We've done teams dedicated to the physically challenged people or the differently able people, as it is politically stuff for them, and they have also seen themselves in this. So it means it's about creating that pressure group where people coming together and actually saying, I don't want to be sitting at the Atayavus and complaining. It's pointless. To be writing stuff on the internet, on the Facebook is pointless. But what we are saying is come to a forum where they will be sitting, the very people that you are saying, if you say, PURA, you are not doing your job, please, we want you to come and tell us so that we will know and change. So because we are public servants.
Indeed.
So at the end of the day, this is not something we are averse to. But what we are saying is, please come in your numbers and let's do this. Let's do it in a very respectfully and a very responsible manner. If we felt that what you are saying, there is merit to it, it will change our systems. Because that's how regulation works anyway. Regulations happens after the fact. So it means if you come and do that, you are helping us. So that's something that we will not shy away from. And we welcome it. So Consumer Parliament, that's basically what we expect people to come and do, is to come, we remove ourselves from the equation, and you come face to face.
All right. Interesting. Mr. Mendy, let me come to you. And people or customers are always their concern, their value for money in the service that they receive from the operators or the service providers. And you as the admin finance or director and admin finance at PURA, what can you tell us during these interactions? What do you observe as someone who really deals with finances and all that at PURA level? From the complaints or queries you receive or hear from the consumers?
Normally, complaints are directed to the Consumer Affairs Department. So they are the one who normally deal with complaints, consumer complaints, and they also liaise with the operator that is affected. For example, if a customer of say Africell complain of their credit been consumed quickly, they will refer it to, they will call 148 and complain it, and those people and the staff at 148 will also liaise with Africell. and see the call pattern, whether what the consumer is complaining is real or not. So if they see that there is a foul play or something else, the operator is normally reward the customer back with the amount of units or maybe more of the units that was not utilized.
Okay, based on the complaints that you have been hearing over the years from the consumers, do you feel the service providers have been listening and probably in the way try to adjust to respond to the needs or concern of the consumers?
Yes.
In your own observation as regulators?
Yes, definitely. Whenever a consumer complains, and the Consumer Affairs Department get in touch with those operators, definitely the consumers are always the complaints are resolved, and also the operator also learn from those mistakes also and try to improve their service.
All right. Going into this year's event, Mr. Of course, Asima have just given us the theme of the event. So at what stage are you, or are we, should I say, in terms of preparation going into the December event or program?
Yeah, one of the preparation is like this sensitization that we are doing with the consumers, trying to enlighten the consumer and also tell them the date and the venue of the program. So definitely PURA is, when we have this kind of program, we always try to sensitize people, the consumers, so that they will be in attendance and also lay their complaints, and also they get the chance of facing the CEOs or the technical directors of those GSM operators, so that their problems will be solved immediately or in the near future.
Okay, and do you think the people have shown that great interest in wanting to come to the Consumer Parliament program to interface with the service providers? You have been doing of course, the sensitization like this one and in events before. Do you think the interest has grown in these years? Yeah, people have been coming.
Just to piggyback on what Paul said.
Okay.
It's not about operators doing stuff about complaints, but rather our challenge mainly for us is that people don't complain.
Oh, okay. People don't, despite all that we hear on the media, on social media, but when it comes to the direct face, it's a different ball game.
They don't complain where it matters. Like we said, you know, the so-called illiterates, people so-called, these are the people that benefit from our services. They call 148, and these are the people, when they call, they get credits refunded by operators, and people, they have experienced this. But the so-called, the intellectual cadre of the Gambian society are the ones that will sit and not complain, and at the same time will tell you the system doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it is, that's what we keep saying.
And the larger chunk blame PURA for that.
Yes, which is something that, you know, as a public servant, we can't be blamed for anything if we are not doing our job right. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But we want you to do it in a constructive manner where you actually challenge us, and if we fail, then you can take us to task.
Yeah.
But you cannot sit without testing the system. 9 other people that will tell you, PURA can. If you ask them, have you ever engaged them, they'll tell you no. So that is a challenge for us, and this is something that we are working on to actually get these people within the fold so that we can engage them. Maybe they have ideas that we can use, but we want to know. So these forums like this, we want to come. The operators are going to have their table, all their CEOs, but for us as well, from our DG down, we are all there. So if you have a question or a concern addressed to PURA, we will appreciate that.
So you call people, they come, but you feel they would not put out the concern on the table or their queries?
Those who come do.
Okay.
But you know, like regulation, complaint is like I said, complaining is the lifeblood of a regulator.
Yeah, sure.
It's an ongoing process. We can create these forums biannually, and you have an opportunity to come directly face to face. But on the other side, on the other hand, this is something that is continuous. You can complain to us on any other issue any day at our offices. We have a free phone line dedicated that is free to you. Any network that you have, you call 148. It's free of charge. You can walk into our offices. We have a dedicated unit that actually deals with complaints. So people that have used this system know it works. Okay. But those who haven't don't know it works. So it pains us to know that there's a system that can actually help them, even some of the concerns that they're saying. As a regulator, the challenge we have is that when we actually take concerns on board, there are certain concerns we can take. The ones that we take on board and really tear out our trouser ends is the ones that we receive through complaints. If we don't, there are certain things they will say, but Jensen Baba Hamgen, which is true. But at the end of the day, we are in between three very powerful forces. The operators, who are very powerful with deep pockets, consumers who are extremely powerful. They are the electors, they are the consumers, they are the customers, they are everything. And also you have the politicians. So we are in between these three people. And if we squeeze a little bit towards the consumer, because they are not as organized as these other two. But when we do that and we do it too much, it looks as if we are the ones encouraging them to revolt when there is no issue.
Okay.
They say nobody complain. Why are you trying to say this?
Absolutely.
So it becomes difficult. So this is the challenge we have.
Okay.
That is why we encourage people to call. Even if we know, please let us know. Put us to task, because you complain with us. We cannot ignore it. We cannot keep it on the board. We have to actually do something about it.
Interesting. Let me come to Mr. Nicholas now. I want us to look at the impact that this Consumer Parliament had so far since the initiation of this encounter between service providers and the consumers. What can you tell us about that? You know, do you think the reason why PURA initiated such a program have really attained, or you have managed to attain the objective along the line?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just like the Director of Consumer Affairs have said, complaints are very, very important. The operators are in their corners, and what they do is they second guess what is happening in the ground. And they cannot be everywhere at any time. So that's why we have given the consumers the opportunity to call us anytime they have issues. I can just give you one or two examples. For example, there was a time in Kerewan whereby any time now it goes off, their services go off. These consumers were just sitting there and they were not complaining. They would complain in their own corners, right? So when we met with them, that was the time they told us this is what is happening. And I'm a technical person. I mean, from my own professionalism, my instincts were, no, this is not true. But then they said, no, it's true. So I called the service provider. You couldn't believe it at the time. I called the service provider. I told them, look, normally, every operator should have a backup, whereby if now it goes, there must be an autonomy in place to ensure that there is continuity of service. And they said, yes, that's exactly what is happening there. I told them, no, the consumers are saying that this is not happening, right? And they instantly sent an engineer, and when he came, as soon as he arrived, network went off, and the whole network went off. Everything went off. It was not only Kerewan, but all the surrounding villages. Wow. So he saw it at first hand. Then, coincidentally, it coincided with the time when they were transporting batteries to a new cell site, and they had to actually divert the cell site, those batteries, and install them there, and they were able to resolve this problem that was affecting Kerewan. And at that time, power outage was so rampant. So they were suffering, they were having pain, but yet they were not complaining. So, meeting, the CEOs and complaining really should not be seen as, a crime or a sin or a cardinal whatever. It should be seen as an opportunity to tell the service provider, look,
but the general belief, sorry for interrupting here, the general belief is Gambians are complaining almost every day that if you hear, well, if you do internet, do Quran, but dara. So you hear these things, but the thing here, if I'm understanding, is people are not complaining at the right place or the right, persons to complain to, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's the exact example that I'm trying to allude to. And the most famous one is really, there was a consumer parliament we held, I think in Banjul or something like that. There was someone who just walked from Cambridge. He just came and walked in and said, look, we don't have a network in Cambridge. All the people are suffering in that area. When we went to make call, we hang our mobiles and in trees and all whatnot. And the operator said, what, Cambridge? It's only Abricam. They told him, yes, this is exactly what is happening. And they said, okay, we will provide you with a network within 6 months. And they did that. And the whole community within Cambridge were able to, enjoy these services. Value for money, just like you did actually state of all. And not only the community, if Cambridge has got a good quality service network, which means when they are communicating within them, amongst themselves, there'll be value of money for money. When they are communicating with people in Banjul or anywhere or in the diaspora, it's value for money. So really, this single person came, represented the community, and he's able to actually ensure that everyone, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
I don't know who among you is going to answer this one. In case now there are issues out there and people did not complain, but PURA themselves know there are problems. What can PURA do? Do they have do you have the powers or the mandate to go there and confront the service providers to make sure that the situation is being resolved?
Yes, in some instances we do. But
Yeah.
generally in regulation, this is it's not the norm, it's an exception.
Okay.
Because the reason why I said that when
Yeah.
you hear regulation is that regulation happens after the fact. Something has to be bad for regulation to take place.
Yeah.
If everything is working fine, you don't regulate. If you do, they say you're meddling.
Okay.
So there's that balance that you have to strike.
Yeah.
So even if you know some things are happening, you need to back that up with tangible data to say, this is what your consumers are saying. It's easier for us to do that than to say, us as regulators, we are coming. But sometimes there are certain equipments that we have that will do technical evaluations of networks that is connected to their network. If those things flag out anything, we use that as basis. What you have to realize is that as a regulator, we are working within the ambits of the law. We are not above the law.
Yeah.
It's not as if whatever we say goes. Whatever we say is subject to challenge. Any one of those operators can take us to court. We make a regulatory decision to say you've been sanctioned to the ABC. They can say, fine, I disagree with you and I'm taking you to court. They can do that.
Okay.
They have a right to do that. So every single thing that we do, we have to follow the law so that in the event that that happens, it has happened, they've been taken to court more than 3-4 times, but every single time they do, we win. This is because we follow a particular process in terms of law.
Yeah.
So it is something that, we pride ourselves on. So as a regulator, it's good. Some people will see that as a bad thing.
Yeah.
Operators should not be taking their regulators to court. I disagree. I think it tests our laws to see that they're fit for purpose. If they are not, then it means we go back to the drawing board and change them. So anybody who challenges and wins means that what we are learning from that is our laws need to be changed. It means there is a gap in the law that needs to change. So as a regulator, it's like I said, it is the exception, it's not the norm. If you do it, they will accuse you of meddling. And the ones that will do that are the operators. They will say, why are you creating a problem when there's none? If you say you're acting on behalf of the consumers, have they complained to you? Well, no. Do you have any evidence? No. It becomes difficult, even though you can. That's what I'm saying. Only when you have a technical problem, we can say, yes, in fact, we have evidence at the technical level to say that this and this and this is true. So that if they want to challenge you in court, you have evidence to back yourself up. Or you cannot just sit up as a regulator and say, oh, let's do this, or operators do this. They will not even listen to you because they know that your laws are very clear. As much as we understand our laws, they understand it as well. Because they have to work with it just like we have to. So that is the difficulty we have to strike. So that is why we say creating a level playing field. But in so doing, it means there's a lot of balancing act that has to happen. And for us, we skew on the side of the consumer a lot more. And that is why we want them to actually empower us with their complaints so that we can do a lot more for them. But we cannot ask them. We cannot be doing this
on their behalf, just like that.
That is another thing.
I know very well. Before we get probably to what to expect on the 10th, I want to also ask, do you feel disturbed or maybe concerned somehow if you sit around and hear people probably on the local media or on the social media, maybe not, I wouldn't say the word, I wouldn't use the word attack, but saying, for instance, the issue of internet, the issue of, calls and credit issues and internet, and of course, electricity concern that people talk about in this country, and somehow blaming PURA for not acting as expected as a regulatory body. And whilst you, on the other hand, believe the right, channel are not being used to people to extend or to forward their complaints. Do you feel somehow concerned or being worried or disturbed about these issues?
Oh yes, we are. Like I said, this is our greatest concern in that people don't complain to the right place that they should. I've seen instances where consumers will actually call radio stations and lodge their complaints. These people have no power of to do anything about it. But the people that actually call our number, 148, actually benefit from it. Like I said, they will call and say, my credit disappeared, and we'll call the operators and they will have to give us a readout of how that person's credit was spent. They can do that. And we've done that for several people. We found instances where operators will say, even though I don't think I owe the person money, I will refund them money anyway, because you have intervened. And we have had that. So this is a challenge that we have. But if people are not complaining, that's not going to happen. So if you go to the radio station and say this,
it wouldn't make much impact.
It doesn't make any impact. Where it makes impact is you give it to somebody whose job it is to do so, and then you hold them to task. If that person did not deliver, then it would be fine to go to radio and say, PURA with all their talk, I have done my complaint and I gave them ABCD and they haven't gotten back to me.
Does that I mean, is it, I want to say, would that mean then PURA need to do more sensitization in making sure that people would be better informed how to complain or where to lodge their complaint? Apparently, others may know, but the general, the general Gambians per se probably wouldn't understand that the only place that you can come is that 148 number you need to call or whatever, but you feel easier and cheaper to call on a radio program or go online and write whatever against PURA or the service that you have.
You know the funny thing is, when they call the radio stations, they pay. Yeah. But when you call us, it's free.
It's free. so for I still like, you need to waaw boo dafa xalaat doy waar te nit ñi dafa mel ni xam dama xamul foofu est-ce que du jotu tamit pour PURA gën see def liggéey bu baax gën a wax ak nit ñi pour ñu xam ne balaa ngay call si radio wala feneen foog nga call PURA ñoom ñi nga xam ñoom lañ dénkaw yëf yi ñoom ñoo mun a taxaw ba problème bi réglé foog naa ne foofu tamit war ngeen cee mun a taxaw
non ni nga wax noonu xëy na sensitization dañ am pour yokkas li ñoo def li ñoo def doyut dañ ne comme que ñu bëri ba tey xamuñ
exactly
ak luñ munti def ak ñun luñ fa ne lu ñu ngay def doyut it means loolu lam ñu dee wax ñun waaye ñun liñ dee foog rek mooy di professional cadre ñun ñooy suñ issues but the other people the general public they use the system and it works for them perfectly waaye professional people yi mooy sa maas yi yéenay suñ problème sa maas yi ñi nga xam ne yéen a dut call waaye nag they have opinions and you express them in the wrong places fine you can have platforms to do so radios fine can act as pressure groups for the regulator even su dee sax ñun may nañ sax su dee da nga ne da ngeen dajale complaint yooyu yëpp ñu indi ko let's say Eyeafrica TV Eyeafrica TV mun naa dajale yooyu ñu indil ko PURA you can act as a pressure group for the group that is calling you. Even lolo, ñun dañ ko di encourage. Because it means we can do it now. Eyeafrica TV can actually say, PURA ñu ngi leen joxoon lii léegi lu si yow. Then we will have to update you. Nañ la ne lii ak lii. That way you can report back to say, bi ngeen ñu indilee seen complaint, PURA lañ ko jox. Waaye suñ la ko joxee yow ñaareel, da nga si dee toog, da ngaa def sa programme mu jeex rek pare nga si. So keneen ñoo def programme, ñu call out kooku tamit the same thing. It's the wrong place. So you know, dañu am pour rely on yéen pour ngeen ay redirect gars yi ñu ñëw PURA après ngeen ay seet yéen tamit na ngeen jàngat si tamit
exactly ñun moom lu gën a bari léegi buñ see wax mooy comme di ngay dégg si milieu mooy bu fekkee affaire yi dafa seer léegi nag PURA ñoom seen taxawaay lan la ci yëf yi dañu war a taxaw GSM operator wala service providers yi ñu gën a taxaw jox ñu service yu baax because ñoom tamit da ngay gis léegi ñuy promote dara fekkee xam nga ne loolu nekku fi yéen tamit gaañu ne da ngeen di seetaan loolu duñ day gis PURA def dara loolu tamit naka la loolu tamit
Nicolas
no, it will be good to give an example because boo waxee promote dara te fekk
waaw comme bëgguma specifically mention anybody comme bon wax ne xam nga service bii nii am na fii ñu ngi si number bi wala fii ñëpp di wax ne number one la ñu ngi am internet soo dem ci réew mi network is perfect te xam nga ne loolu soo am na fi nga xamante ne su ma dëkk man soo demee si àll bi da ngay ba léegi foog nga move nga critiquer pour affaire yi am na tamit keneen ak keneen kuy wax loolu soo loolu pour naka la ko mun a régler wala wax ko consommer si bu seen xel mun a dal xam ne naa ngay def dara of course PURA bu ngay def waaye ñu bëri jàpp ne PURA defu dara ñu ngay seetaan so xalaat yi mel noonu
I think you are right sometimes what we do is just like he said, we have to ensure that we have scientific evidence so that when we are taken to court, we are able to stand the test of time and we are able to actually provide evidence. So that's why we have actually acquired a machine which actually is able to monitor the quality of service throughout the length and breadth of the country.
Fantastic.
And we take their networks, we provide statistics on the level of service that they distinct, and we do publish it. We've been doing this so that the consumers can actually look at the services, know the networks where they are, so that if someone says, I am 100%, have a 100% coverage, they will say, no, but what I've seen is not really true. So these are all avenues.
In that regard, what can PURA do if somebody is claiming I'm providing this while that's not the case?
So anytime we have such a complaint, we've done that with a few operators, and we've shunned them. We find them, and that fine we just put it in an escrow account, whereby because as a regulator, sometimes when you start finding people for lack of doing something, people think, oh, the reason why they find this operator is because they just want money for themselves. No, that's not what we do.
Okay.
When we find an operator for being in breach or saying something that is not true, then you take that money and then actually accumulate it and use it for a just cause, like give it to the hospital or build internet for a school and things like that. So these are things that we have done. But people should actually also know that we came from a long way, because the quality of service is over the years, because of the complaints we have been receiving from the consumers. We've actually been pressuring the operators. We've been publishing, and because of the publications that we have been doing, the operators have been, improving their networks. They're actually competing to ensure that, they have, they are the number one in terms of providing quality of service. And, there's evidence in this right now. Any services that, is in Europe, as far as the mobile service is concerned, is actually available here. You take another, let's say, hospital, for example. I'm not trying to downgrade the other sectors. In Europe, for example, once you are sick, for example, even if you are in the middle of the bush, and you call the emergency number 911 or whatever, within a minute, if an ambulance will come, wherever you are, they will come and pick you. Even if there is no vehicle, they can even airlift you. How near are we to that? Now, when you compare the mobile phones, right, this online Zoom meetings and all whatnot, I mean, just 10 years ago, right, even us as PURA and the ministry, when we want to have a Zoom meeting, we have to set up an appointment at the UN office, at the UNDP. That's where we used to go. And then they will actually, connect on satellite, and then we'll sit on the TV and do these things. But nowadays, it's a given.
It have to change.
Now you can do it in the comfort of your own home. And this is what is happening.
Absolutely.
Even when you go to the provinces, what we do every year, we go to the provinces, visit every single village to gauge the network coverage and all whatnot. I remember one time we went to, just about 4 years ago, we went to FAS. I wouldn't say the second distance because someone will know the exact FAS. There are so many FASs.
Oh, it's not Jagatoi, but...
No, I will not say the distance. And when we were there, they had... When they want to make calls, they hang their phones on a tree, and they were in the Bantama, So these old men were there, drinking a tea, and then we came and then, greeted them, and then they said, and all of a sudden, one woman was running at a marathon speed. Nijai, telephone by My goodness me.
You couldn't believe
it. I couldn't believe it. But today, when you go to all those, it's very rare for you to go today in a village, right? And find them not being able to use WhatsApp. Even as far as Nyamanar, right? They were complaints at the border. They used to receive Senegal signals. When they complained, right, we actually wrote to the operators, and today, both two operators are providing them with 3G network in that place. So really, they are just
efforts have been
so
done.
these are things that so quality of service really. We've gone a long way.
Thank you. Quality of service for now, Mr. Mendy. I know you're very highly admin, but yet still there's still room for improvement based on Mr. Jata Limwa, ci service ni, but then ñu ngi dem benen consumer parliament programme, but nit ñi war nañu am yaakaar ne ba léegi PURA war naa mën a taxaw ba gis ne service yi ñoo am ci réew mi mu gën a yokku mu gën a sax mu gën a am doole tamit fekk yu ñoo dégg ñu ngi ko promote tamit soo demee ci ground bi nga fekk noonu la demee te programme bi mun na may consumers opportunity ñu ñëw ñu raise some of those concerns yu ñu am.
Ok, programme bi moom li fi nañ ko ñëpp dañ ko def pour consumer yëpp.
waaw
bépp complaint boo am. nu quality of service mu consumer naka credit problem or anything. network coverage daal soo ñëwee daal foofu moom. da nga jàkkaarloo ak network owners yi naka company ak GSM operators yi. MDC ak technical directors yi. so nga make complaint foofu there from there they will also analyse what is the complaint, and then they will try to resolve it. Boo nañ ko lay solve moom boo moom maa ngi ñaax consumers yëpp ñu ñëw foofu noonu. Brikama on the 10. complaint boo am bépp complaint boo am. soo ñëwee foofu noonu I guarantee you it will be resolved.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good.
It should not only be limited to the telecom sector. So Mr. Solosima will also tell us tell the audience the type of utility providers that we expect, what we regulate, so that people will know that it's not only telecom,
exactly.
but other service
Good,
so
Mrs.
it's important.
Yeah, very well. Then nga ñëw nga yaatal foofu parce que dafay am solo loolu tamit li mu wax lu am solo lan la ñu war a xaar exactly on the 10th lan moo fa war a xew ak yan façon kilifa ñun moo fa war a mën a teew ci programme bi.
comme pour niñ bëgg a xamal nañu waaye ñun any services dañ ñoo réguler
exactly
te sa xaw nañoo sakantu mooy télécommunication Gamtel Gamcel Africell Comium Qcell when it comes to internet service providers yi nekk si dëkk bi yëpp ñoo leen di réguler broadcasting mooy radio stations TV station comme fii ñun ñoo leen di réguler but also petrol stations yi nekk si dëkk bi yëpp downstream petroleum tamit ñun ñoo leen di réguler when it comes to so da ngaa gis ne dafa yaatu so ñi ñaa ngi naan radio station ñi naan radio nit ñi dañ see saaga but these are all things yi nga xam ne nit ñaa ngi ñëw ñu toog ñu waxtaanoo ko understand lan la tax nit ñi foog loolu is that something that nit ñi dañ si am concern dañ ko complain about waaye comme balaa maa dem si loolu comme li nga doon wax si yëf yi su dee operators yaa ngi claim loo xam ne du dëgg mooy ne we have something in our advertisement code we have a code of conduct advertisement code of conduct where dañ dee task operators pour ne ñun duñ la aaye pour nga wax dara mooy ne ñun mënuñoo ñëw naan lii ngaa wax léeg ngaa wax lii ngaa wax léeg ngaa wax because mënuñoo limite gars yi to a particular scope liñ dee wax mooy ne ñun duñ la aaye nga wax dara mun ngaa wax lu la nee waaye bés bu si nit jógee challenge ko rek dinañ la laaj pour nga substantiate ko soo ko musta substantiate dañ laa ne nga teg nga bàyyi so the onus is on you pour mu ne li nga wax is truthful and is honest and this is a universal advertisement code standard bi they apply everywhere in the world where dañoo toog di la déglu soo ñëwee ne man maa fi gën a rafet su kenn waxul dara maybe yaa fi gën a rafet kenn waaye su nit ñëwee ne la in fact kii fooguma ne moom a daaxa nañ ko ne léegi prouval ne yaa daaxa ki xam nga so the onus now is always on them so if somebody says that I am the biggest network and you disagree with that nga ñëw nga wax ko soo ko waxee am na opérateur boo xam ne mus na ko fee def we actually went round to actually nit moo ñëw complain ne mu ngay nekk di make a claim on a billboard mu def billboard si all over ñu ñëw biñ ko ne mu substantiel mënu koo def dañ ko laaj pour mu wàccee billboard yëpp and he did so da ngaa gis ne loolu yëpp mu ngi fa comme li ma laa wax it will not happen by itself regulation happen after the fact waaw du ne ñun dañ lazy oo dañ tayal noonu la day demee regulation in itself the term itself is regulation doo régler dara loo xam ne yaaxul lu baax doo ko régler tëdd yéen seen channel si soo demee ba cuun ko nga amee perfect picture doo ko dee réguler te ni moom waaye su baaxute si nga nekk di fine tune so regulation is that fine tuning is something has gone wrong lu bon xew na o lu baax a baax xew na loo xam ne tax na ba dañ am pour dem wécci luwaay pour ñu gën koo jàppa so yooyu yëpp la so all these people will be coming to the consumer parliament on the day dañ fa also on the side dañoo allow gars pour ñu am information desk pour ñu nekk boobu di waxtaan ak nit ñi ñun tamit parce que régulateur am na machine yi ees yu ñu jënda yi nga xam ne comme electromagnetic field léegi mun nañoo test radio seen levels about towers yi nekk si dëkk bi ñu ngi ko am bu ko nañ ñu ñëw tamit seetaale ko dañ ko fa display waxtaan seen nit ñi ku si am constant ci sa boori kër ne da nga am masse bu fa nekk waaye da nga ragal even electricity transformers yi dañ dee generate some radioactivity so dafa am ne yooyu noonu ñun léegi mun nañoo test loolu pour wax la ndax the levels are safe or not so ñun tamit nañ fa am desk ba pare ñun suñ management bi yëpp nañ fa toog tamit as experts pour gars yi lu ñu wax ñu wéral ko oo ñu wéedi ko so dafa am ne ñu duñ fa toog rek wax lu leen ne kon ñun dañ fa nekk naan li ngeen wax ni dëgg la li ngeen wax ni lu mun a am la loolu lu mun ta am so dafa am ne forum boo xam ne la maanaam pour client yi dañ ko jagle ba pare ñun sax dañ ko bañ be ñun on the day ñun duñ ko lifin ñun duñ ko dee moderate dañ ko outsource to a veteran broadcaster Peter Gomez moom moo ko dee def ñun suñ demee ba def suñ opinion ba pare moom suñ ko joxee maay ñun pare nañ si moom su ko neexee mun nañ ñoo laaj ñun sax mu taas ñu or anybody so ñun amuñ any control over it loolu yëpp li ñoo def rek mooy ñun because all through the year ñun ñoo dee nekk diggante client yi ak operators yi waaye bés bii nii dañ bëgg ñu dindi suñ boppa foofu ñu make suñ operators yi ñu leen direct ak client yi su ko defee ñu address concerns yi at that direct level su dee da nga ne sa crédit bi def dee teel a jee ñëwal nga laaj leen ko
yëgulee nga jënd cash power affaire yi na fii
bugga nañ nga ñëw nga laajte ko
fuel bi léegi
lu tax ñu nekk di fay di taal bugga nañ nga ñëw naa ne juwaara nga fees ko nga laaj ko so loolu lañ bugga su dee da nga ne ñii dee Africell charge crédit rek Gamcel charge crédit rek Comium charge crédit rek Qcell charge crédit ñëwal nga laaj ko seen si yooyu lu tax so I think forum bii nii loolu la so pour client yi la bugga nañ ñu make use of it on the 10th of December ñëpp ñëw box ba ñu toog ñu penjoo ñu waxtaanoo ko ñu make sure ne ñun ñëpp am nañ si njëriñ
waaw réew mi sax fu mu toll ñuy gars yi ne foog ñu continuer di pencoo mooy ñu waxtaan suñ biir te loolu foog naa ne bi avenue bu am solo parce que fi yëf yi toll léegi ku demoon maybe the last edition lan ngeen amal ñi nga xamante ñoo war a ñëw ren additional stuff whatever programme ndax ñu Olof Njaay dafa wax ne ku yokk cere rek da ngay jël dolli ñeex yàgg ngeen di def programme bi every 2 years wala every now and then ku nga xamante ne def day ñëw every time wala mu fas yéene ñëwaat ren lan la war a expect leen lu bees in terms of li ngeen bugg a li nga xamante ne indi li tax nit ñi xam ne dëgg-dëgg seen concern yi tamit donte ne yéen doo leen da ngeen bugg a gaa interface waaye da ngeen faa nekk ba tamit daf leen yitteel
xam nga fi nakal da kon suma parlement si boppam
waaw
comme information des yi ma laa wax ni liñ si dee bañ rek mooy comme léegi-léeg après dañ day dem di joxe seen tiisaar si nit ñi nekkat di ngiroo ngaayoo dañ ngay tere loolu because bugguñ mu throw away the focus from the very important which is the forum so da ngay li dee xew si society dañ leen dee pousse ñu sori pour nga xam ne li nekk li fa indi nit ñi mooy ñu teewal seen complaints yi ou even seen du nekk ak complaints léegi-léeg mu am ñu ñëw ne man de fi ma dikk ak opérateur sangam they doing fantastic nga wax leen ko nga ñaax leen dafa mean ne they're doing something right so dafa mean ne loolu loo xam ne la suñ ko mënee répliquer feneen ñu def ko fa so loolu yëpp dañ ko dee bëgg waaye forum bi si boppam we try to keep it as conservative as possible because the whole idea is for consumers to come and express their concerns or express their delights at the service that they consume so dafa mean ne variations duñ ko fa dee bëgg a def lu bëri liñ dee def rek loolu daf dee nekk on the side parce que dañ bi bëgg a pour forum su dooree mu nekk about consumers and their concerns alone buñ si rax dara waaw
am na solo su ko defee mbokk yi ñu leen fàttali rek ne yéen a ngi ànd ak Eyeafrica TV ci programme bu am solo ñu ngi fi dal kilifa yi jógee ko PURA comme ni ngeen déggee waxtaan bi ñu ngi waxtaan ci li nga xamante ne mooy consumer parliament programme bi nga xamante ne dañ dee dajale stakeholders yi waaye surtout ñi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo dee provide service yi nga xamante dañ ko dee jëfandoo ci réew mi comme Mr Seaman nu mu ko waxee joxe na ci exemple yu bari yi kilifa yu ñu séentu ñu war a teew ci bés bi ñëw jàkkaarloo ak ñun consommateurs yi mooy ñuy bénéfice ci service yi ñoo provide waxtaan ak ñoom ci jafe-jafe yi ñooy dunda ci luñ ñooy jox ku nekk loo ci am loo ci bëgg a wax wala looy complain boo ñëwee nga jàkkaarloo ak ñu ngi la koy jox nga wax ñu dégg la ñu tontu la tamit nga déggee ci ñoom parce que loolu tamit dafay nekk lu am solo yàgg na programme bi nag yàgg nay am ren tamit ñu ngi ko fas yéene amal ci fukki fan weeri décembre foofu ci Brikama box ba foog naa ne moom ku ko gisut sax wala waaye dégg nga ko foofu ci football field bi place bu yaatu la programme bi xam naa lu bari war na fee mun a xew loolu la ñëw waxtaanee fii pour lan lañ ci war a mun a séntu ak lan mooy ci taxawaay pour ñoom ñi nga xamante ñoom ñooy organise programme bi moo tax ñuy sekk kilifa yi ci waxtaan boobu su ko defee xam naa ne comme waxtu baa nge sori na daanaka lu ci des bareetut bu baax su fekkee ne am na ku dégg kàllaama Mandinka rek pour mu tënka luñ jot a waxtaan Mr Sima parce que man moom suma soose bi dafa la doy waar
ok baraka baake no comme baɗin jiber lal dolle naata jam PURA sila côté pour ka faale na consumer parliament na ɓe mbamen kake sanji fula e wole siita côté ke ñinan mbake la birkamale sate ba ngalon ne birkama dulati mala mool siyata jeere kon sant ñol ñanta siyala jeere so mbakela ñin kamen ke wala ñinti ko comme sa wosan dol ka complain o receive la PURA ni mol na de ka complain ya la service ol mambete ya anum ke la complain ol nga ragle bar dol le carte tol ning service provider al tema bar ñimu event di me yalla ko sa wosan ka kele ngam fam bondiji dol ka operator be nati am na man ke la kunun dingol de la kun kumbal be nge sindi tabulo kan den nga foye e sije den al tol clientol me ngal si bono dawo dalena ni dun tawud lata drong imu parliamentarian olde imu kadum ne annan ka parliamentarian ga sutiyandi député la koy mu député de ite lengi la kon e be damen ite la député ni nata ye konsano ye complaino ki je ko dol den na network mo mbeta nata ite damale o bat ni arte wo network o nyinde da fa bete ata je ite damale ya fo badi alla ila community nyim belebe na fa sot la je so nga wala ya nga fenke wala nya ga fa ko consumer parliament ko ite lem député di men ñante la area ñing represent la kana kaw keje so ñina ba kala Brikama box baale laftal pour mol benal kal yalo ñamen dolle ka electricity telecommunication won gamtel afrisel commune kiwsal dolle ke regulate and kana radio station wala kana TV station men boka Eyeafrica TV GRTS Paradise TV Star TV dolle ko fana regulate and petrol station men be banko kan so ñun be la ñaaton ko la representer be sinira tabulo tole alié na tol kiliano na al ko alla credit wala ka banjuna alla credit alma understand al na ali nyinin ka directly na al ko ka alla credit wala sunya al na fangol be sire jelle le nyinin ka so ton laftale nyil lungo kake pour ba le client ton ngabo al ning service provider tem al fango ye nyinin ka anu ate danna service provider damman tul fana be tarajele ngalo na le kwexono dol so dol fana yele al ko bukan na do ko ke ala fanya nga moy nambe mem jabir menke la ngake na ay kanyang ya fanya namang isa en dol ngamur ko nga kan dol public servant wala na do ko wote pour moy njale wote ke la problem ti ko nyantale pour ko embrace because that wom kule me yalla ko akanna do ko nyinga ka fisiande la ka betende so wala tan ni consumer parliament consumer kan na faso riban tol pura fana aka kenna lamul la bunda balete samfulan kake di order fen ko ni mo yalu mo jama ba fa la je muna nal kanyinke kombo dam al bugada bolon kono kan bolon kono fanan kata jele bari mbuka consumer parliament ke jin kamen ke bolon kono wala ngaw ko mandi bantaba outreach le la ngata nga village muwan tombon comme Nicolas ya fo nyame to katale technical team ke fan sun takele but consumer affairs department fana nga village muwan tombon sanji fula nga taw village kilingo kiling na sila bantabato niye kacha ndol fango ngela problème ndol fango nga live with them because nga trajele ni buka network so ndol fango la telephone de tamala ni kurango te ndol fango ba experience kuran bi on kala jele niye laño kam fo somo niye kacha so problème bi je ni tol kafo amanke koy ba flanto lele nga moy fangol ba lonnale kadu ningal laaje ni kurante je be ba experience ñolal ni network ko bugana tam be la telephone tamala ñola so ngaw kele pour bantaba but consumer parliament mu oban area li wala ngabo bir kama kana jamma fon kadu nga understand le ni dara bolon kono pour que mol be sini dula kele mako aka kole yalla wala nan tol ka wulin katay kan nga tilitang nim fula tilitang nin nane kije nga sinni kaja ni fengo fem foy nay murna nga si TV do fana nga foy ale ñene fo nga ketan so consumer parliament ben kumare mbalem ana manke bentime ya lonko Gambia drone kake regulator jamal le kake Africa tundo kan Nigeria kake le Tanzania kake Uganda kake Sierra Leone kake man Ghana lo mbake bar banku jamal le kake men ya lonko kake men kam wala ñinti ko this is the one time ya lonko regulator fangte tarra clientol ning operator tema regulator ba fam bonni la jele clientol le fam bina regulator ni ñaat li ñole ya foy albeñine ke ka betata albeñine ke ka man betata.
All right, I'm just been told that the time given is we have exhausted the time. On a final note, Mr. Mendy, finally, I know for the benefit of the Serer maybe ak Jola yi pour ñu fa bëgg ñëw ana saraxulay tamit ndax affaire whole day programme ndax añ dina am ndax ndox dina fa nekk ak yu mel noonu loolu tamit ndax ku nekk da ngaa ñëw rek nga déglu su fekkee da nga bëgg a liggante dara nga génn boobu naka lay defee pour Jola bu fa bëgg a ñëw ak Serer yi.
ok jërëjëf li fi maa ngi start fukki waxtu 10 o'clock waaw 10 o'clock la moo start nit yi mën a ñëw by 10 o'clock waaye mën nañ fa dafa lay provide ndox ak yu sew yi noonu waaye waate nekkul añ waaye ñu ngi ñaax yëpp ku mën ngaa ñëw doo fa yàgg doo da nga ñëw indi foofu noonu mën ngaa ñëw lee sa complain nga dem waate dina ko dem fa waaye nu ngaa ñëwee dugga si rek mën ngaa dugga si ñëw jë ekkati mic bi nga su la ko joxee nga wax sa complain nga dem nekkul ne da nga war a ñëw indi foofu noonu ñun staff yi pour ñoo fa nekka ñoo fa teel a nekka ba affaire si jeex daal waaw
all right jërëjëf ñu gërëm la ci waxtu bi Mr Jatta finally lan ngay tëjee yow tamit yow IT man nga te tamit IT sector bi gars yi dañu leen dee xala jàmm defi nag léegi pour yéen naka la fay so yow what you will tell to the viewers yi ak ñu war a ñëw finally rek.
Thank you very much. For us we are always happy when we have criticisms because that means something is not gone correctly. So that's when we actually go to the drawing board and ensure we provide solutions. So this upcoming consumer parliament will be an opportunity for consumers to come and lay their complaints, tell us the issues that they have, the challenges, so that we can be able to resolve them for the good of the country. Thank you very much.
All right, and Mr. Sima, finally, you are the Director of Consumer Affairs. This is more or less your show, somehow. I know it's progressive, but consumers are expected to come. So what will be your final message to them, and what, on the time?
If you see the representation, it's director sitting here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means this is the weight, the importance that we've given this particular day. Even though for me, I do the coordination at that level, but nonetheless, it's everybody, because we all is a point of assessment for all of us to say this is what consumers think of us, and this is what they want us to do. And this is like a forum they're saying where it matters. So it's not anywhere else that they're saying.
Yeah.
It matters here when they say it. By the time we come back next year, all the concerns that they've expressed 9 out of 10 times would have been solved.
Great.
But if it's not solved, it would also be good to actually bring it to say why it was not solved.
Indeed.
So these are things that we want. So what on the 10th of December, Brikama, please come.
Is the
yes, like Paul said, we will give you water by all means, because we don't know how many people. Just lay your complaints and go. Whatever you lay will be written. We have rapporteurs that are going to be every single thing that is complained will be written, and you can challenge us to say, I complain about this, have you done something about it?
All right, thank you very much.
And just briefly, we also have an online medium so that people who are in the diaspora can actually call and participate, because they are also consumers. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Through you guys,
all right, okay. All right, that's a good one. Thank you very much. That's a good way to end the program. And thank you very much, Mr. Slosima. Just to remind you, he's the Director of Consumer Affairs at PURA. And we also have Mr. Paul Mendy, Director of Admin and Finance, and Mr. Nicholas Jada, also is the Director of ICT at PURA. They joined me in this program to talk about the 2022 Consumer Parliament program slated for the 10th of December at the Brikama Box Bar. So we hope you will be there to have an interaction with the service providers. On that note, we thank you so very much once again, as always, for following our programs. And until we meet again, do have a pleasant evening, and bye from us.